Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Mica Burton.
Tensions between video game developers and Steam key reseller G2A have been mounting over the last few weeks. You may have seen a couple of videos we've done on the developing saga over this point, but now they've resulted in a real-life confrontation.
Fight! It's all fun in games until it goes IRL. Well, actually, it's still kind of fun in games because a bunch of developers just shredded a G2A representative who, mind you, was wearing a snapback during a panel at a gaming conference this week.
Maybe that's his official uniform.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me.
The awkward encounter led to more accusations of running a gray marketplace, G2A claiming that critics simply don't understand the business model, and yet another official response from the company following all of the shade throwing from everybody.
Boy, when you add this to them losing that Gearbox deal over the remastered edition of Bulletstorm and them semi-defending email from scamming, it's been a rough couple of weeks to be in the business of reselling Steam keys.
Well, if you're G2A, I imagine that there are a lot of other Steam key resellers out there who are really pretty happy about this development because they're hoping that more of that business will come their way instead. The G2A grilling happened at the Reboot Developers Conference in Croatia in a special session with G2A Senior Account Manager Mario Mirik, hosted by Dan Pearson of GamesIndustry.biz. It started off kind of rough and went downhill from there. The opening topic right out of the gate was about whether or not G2A is in fact running a gray marketplace.
Oh boy. Well, that argument comes from the long-standing criticism that G2A facilitates the spread of scammed or stolen Steam keys for resale, this profiting, at least in part, from illegal activity. Some of the keys on the platform are completely legitimate.
Yeah, many of them are. Yeah. It's just that it's like playing roulette. Once things got a little bit rough, Mirik was immediately on the defensive about G2A being called a gray market, saying, "I know we're called a gray marketplace, but the way we see it and the way our team sees it is that there's nothing really gray about it. People just don't understand our business model."
That led to some developers like Rami Ismail, one of the devs behind Ridiculous Fishing, live tweeting the actual definition of gray marketplace, which reads, "is the trade of a commodity through distribution channels that are legal but unintended by the original manufacturer."
Yep, that kind of sounds like G2A. Mirik, however, wasn't fazed. He went on to talk about how many of their users are young, in the 16 to 20 range, and how they just don't have the funds to buy a game day one at full retail price. And G2A, according to the company, is a great place to go find the game on day one from people who, for whatever reason, don't want it anymore.
He defended G2A more by talking about how it's the same idea as any video game company putting their game on sale to acquire new customers. And G2A gives those same developers a way to acquire up to 13 million who are using the platform every month.
13 million? That's a lot.
That's a lot of millions.
Of course, that's not the same at all because publishers kind of set their own sales prices and developers typically get a cut of those. That point brought the whole discussion to G2A Direct. That's G2A's program that gives developers 10% of a cut of sales of their game on the marketplace.
Naturally, developers aren't a huge fan of it because it makes G2A into sort of a protection racket. These stolen keys are going to be sold one way or another, so you might as well take 10%, you know, that kind of thing.
Right, in the Q&A, Mirik insisted that developers getting 10% from G2A Direct was an attractive offer, to which most of the developers in the room enthusiastically responded, "Nope."
Just a hard no.
Well, when you're talking about Steam in particular, where developers typically make 70% of it, saying just be happy with 10%, and this is developers who are coming at this from a very pro-developer standpoint, are gonna say nah.
And from there, the developers continued to grill the representative about stolen keys on whether or not G2A facilitates stolen keys, and the rep said that they're working on that problem. "Our job is to make sure we are the safest marketplace out there."
He went on to say, "We want our customers to be sure that when they acquire a key, it's going to work. It is in our best interest to make sure that the codes that appear on G2A have been acquired legitimately."
Eventually, all of these complaints led to the company's recent problems with publisher Gearbox. If you don't recall, a couple of weeks ago, the two companies had a very public falling out after Gearbox demanded that G2A make changes to their business. G2A refused and even released a pretty big fuck you statement about the matter.
Mirik commented that G2A was caught off guard by the situation, and in their minds, the entire fiasco was because of misinformation. Mirik said, "We know there are factoids being perpetuated. Nobody has looked at the real numbers or the data. We're disappointed our deal fell through because of a YouTuber. But the reason I am here and you're here is that you can contact us, speak to us, and find out what is really going on. Then you can base your business decisions on real information and not false speculation."
At one point, the back and forth between the developers and G2A got so rough that Merrick even suggested that the audience should be more forgiving of his company because 40% of their 750-person staff is made up of women. What?
Diversity! You like that, right? That's why you would just give it all a pass. But probably the most uncomfortable exchange, in case that didn't qualify, came between Mike Bithell, the developer behind Thomas Was Alone, who pressed Merrick about G2A Shield, which is the sort of insurance fee users pay to ensure their game purchases are protected, or they have to make sure they're like legitimate keys. It's, you know, extra fee.
Yep. In that exchange, Bithell asked why G2A should get 90% of a transaction plus the G2A Shield fee when developers are the ones doing the work of the finding and alerting the company to fraudulent activity. To that, Merrick said it's because they have people in marketing, IT, and security who all need to be paid.
Well, the developers definitely don't have anybody doing any work, so it makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for G2A, this is not, well, and they said that in a room of developers.
Oh my god!
So that's a little bit of extra fun. Now, unfortunately for G2A, this isn't the first time the company's gone toe-to-toe in real life with a developer. It actually happened back at GDC as well during a panel with Punch Club developer TinyBuild. In a panel hosted by the CEO, this same representative, Snapback McGee, showed up to dispute TinyBuild's claims about G2A selling scammed keys of their games, which then turned into a public argument in front of the entire audience.
Well, as they love to do, G2A has now responded directly to that lovable scrap that happened at the Reboot conference this week. G2A's head of PR, Maciej Cook, sent the statement to Eurogamer. In that letter, he further elaborated on the wiki definition of gray market and addressed many of the criticisms that came about during the discussion. The wiki definition, really?
Yeah, dude. The wiki definition.
God, okay.
The statement claims that those who want to stop Steam key reselling are acting against the free market, even though, once again, nobody's issue with G2A is about reselling of Steam keys, but more about how some of those keys are obtained and whether or not the company is profiting off of fraudulent activity.
G2A wrote, "Gray market, despite the wiki definition, works as a negative label, and people who throw this name against us just want to damage our business." It goes on to say that if G2A is a gray market, then so are eBay and Amazon.
But the rep also talked more about G2A Direct, insisting that G2A makes way more of an effort than any of those other resellers out there by giving developers some kind of direct cut.
Lastly, he talked about that whole diversity thing, you know. Neither our number of employees nor what gender these employees are any reason to treat our company any differently. We are proud of our employees, especially since we work as one team despite that we come from over 30 different countries and have vastly different areas of expertise. But again, this is not a reason to treat our company any better or worse.
So...
oh boy!
This is just the latest bout in what continues to be an ongoing feud between developers and G2A. For G2A's part, doesn't look like they're going to be backing down anytime soon about their business model, which they seem to feel is totally legitimate. They do not seem like they are really up to having a discourse with developers about updating or making changes or anything like that. And they're happy with how they're doing things right now.
Which means we'll probably get to see something like this happen all over again. Maybe E3. Ashley, let's fight them.
Maybe it can become a conference regular.
Ooh!
But what do you guys think of developers grilling G2A at the Reboot conference and how G2A handled the entire discussion? Let us know in the comments.
For future updates on devs versus marketplaces and possibly a live E3 Rumble, remember to like this video and subscribe to The Know.
Maybe they can go in for, what is it, like the PAX Rumble?
Yeah!
And they can go in and they can like fight the media and they can fight the developers directly.
And then like the representative is gonna throw off his snapback and it's gonna have razors on it and that's his special move. That can't be his last name.
Magic Cock.
Magic Cock. G2A's head of PR, Magic Cock,